Here is everything that changed on Oldschool RuneScape in May. A new Gielinor Gazette was released that includes updates on darkmeyer, high score issues, leagues, soul wars, early game improvements, clans, group ironman, the new Xeric quest, account security and login issues, PvP, and of course the big death update coming in mid-June. Many of you participated in the Twisted Leagues last year, a Xeo-only Ironman game mode that featured a relic system and boosted XP rates. Jagex saw it as a great success and have already been working on a second league. Based off player feedback, the next league will feature more relics, an extended late game, and tasks that feel more fair and rewarding. There are 5 new ideas that Jagex has for the new league. The first one is a Kingdoms and Factions League that would let players join competing regions or factions in Gielinor. For example, the map would be split into East and West factions. Players could choose one of the two and safely build their account in that region. If they need to go to the other side, however, PvP would be enabled and they'd be at risk of dying. Think of deadman mode except one massive safe zone for yourself and one for the opposite faction. The second idea was a PvP-oriented league. It'd be kind of like a mix between deadman mode and darkscape, a previous RuneScape game mode. The third idea is something called a seasonal league, which would split Gielinor into 4 weather seasons that would rotate over the course of 1 or a few days, meaning each area would have different weather at different times of the day. These conditions could have various effects on things like crops, run energy, monster aggressiveness, and more. The fourth idea is called a scrambled league, not scrambled eggs, a scrambled league, where all of your skills are mixed around. Each one of your skills' XP rates would be bound to another skill. For example, woodcutting a maple tree would give you fishing XP, pickpocketing something would instead give you runecrafting XP. They say it would be confusing at first, but would shake up the current meta and force players to train skills with new routes and ideas. The final idea for a new league would be something called a gridlocked league, shout out to my homie Framed. This league would split Gielinor into small map squares. For example, to give you an idea, one square equates to Lumbridge Castle and the area in front of it. Each player starts out being restricted to one of these map squares, and as you progress by gaining league points or completing tasks, you can unlock any adjacent map square. This way the player can unfold the world to their liking and progress in any direction they want. For those of you looking for a new experience on Oldschool, this will be what you're looking forward to. For you experienced Twisted League players, and for those of you who have never played an Oldschool RuneScape League before, which one of these would you guys most be interested in and most want to see come to the game, and what changes would you make to them? Make sure to let me know in the comments. Next up, death mechanics, one of the most talked about things over the past few years. As you know, at the moment, if you die somewhere in game, you have an hour to get your stuff back. This is in place due to a massive issue that used to take place, which was server DDoSing in order to get people's items. You used to only have a couple of minutes to get back to your items, but now that is no longer the case. The issue with the current death timer, however, is that many players see the game as having no risk anymore. Players can use max gear in places like God Wars Dungeon without ever having to worry about getting their items back. There isn't that fear anymore when you're going to a high level boss that if you die, you're going to lose some of your expensive items. Here's the medium Jagex is proposing. When you die, most items will move to your gravestone, which appears roughly where you died. If you died in an instanced area, such as a private Kraken room, the gravestone will be placed outside of it. Likewise, a gravestone will appear outside the 4 God Wars Dungeon boss rooms. It will remain in place for 15 minutes, counting down only when you're logged in. It also pauses if you become inactive so that a player who's struggling with their connection won't be disadvantaged. On arrival at your grave, you may be asked to pay a small fee, depending on the value of what it contains. Most items, especially newbie kits, don't accrue to any fee at all, and there's a discount for ironman accounts. Dying again while you already have a grave active will generally send your items to the existing grave, though any food or potions in the grave will be dropped to the ground beneath it so that you can still make supply caches. Once your grave expires, it sends its contents to Death's office. You can take as long as you wish to visit Death's office to retrieve items, but you can expect a somewhat higher fee with another discount for ironman accounts. However, you don't have to pay all of it with cash, and the office is Death's coffer. Items you sacrifice there will credit you with 105% of their GE value. This money can't be withdrawn as cash though, as it's just used for paying gravestone fees. Death won't accept cheap items in his coffer either. Each individual item has to be worth 10,000 coins, even if you've got a high quantity of them. None of these rules would apply to Ultimate Ironman accounts. Areas such as the Theater of Blood, Vorkath, the Volcanic Mine, and the Hollowed Sepulchre will be left alone. The one that will change, however, is Zulrah. This one currently doesn't have a fee, nor the menu for choosing what to retrieve. It will get both as part of this update. However, the fee will only be charged once you've got a Zulrah kill count of 50, so new players can continue learning as they always have. The Oldschool RuneScape team has grown enormously at Jagex over the past year. If you are still confused or want to know what has changed in the team or what everybody does, they've made a great list showing what roles all the current JMods play on the Oldschool team. Bounty Hunter has had a couple changes made based on player feedback. These include price changes to Blighted Potions, Karambwans, and Anglerfish, as well as updates to the different tiers of emblems. The standard Bounty Hunter shop now gives applicable items in banknote form if you're attempting to buy more than one. The Blighted Teleblock sack has become a Blighted Teleport spell sack, able to cast either the Teleblock or Teleport to bounty target spells. The private storage at the Chambers of Xeric can now hold watering cans, and vials can now have water poured into them from buckets and related vessels. The 2020 OSRS annual survey is now out. Your survey feedback will influence future updates and help shape the game's direction. It's an opportunity to pitch the team your content designs. Jagex is also giving out $50 vouchers to random users who have completed the survey in full. There's been some adjustments made to the Vanguard stats in the Chambers of Xeric. In general, defense has been lowered and hit points increased. This makes the fight reset mechanic less risky for smaller rating parties. The high magic defense of the melee Vanguard has been swapped with its melee defense so that it slots neatly into the established combat triangle. Next, they reduced the Vanguard's aggro range and shifted one of the spawn positions to match the room layouts in other Vanguard rooms. You are now guaranteed to get at least one overload from the Vanguards. And lastly, Vanguards will now reset if their HP differs by 40%. Previously, this was set at 33%, and this remains the case for raids of 5 members or more. They've rebalanced the Scavenger's Beast loot table to include a more reasonable amount of Sicilies and Endarkened Juice. One of the crystals in the crab room has been moved, and they've fixed an issue where players would be hit by Vespila's melee attack if the Abyssal Portal died. The Chambers of Xeric Challenge Mode now offers a brand new reward, the Twisted Ornament Kit. Players will have a chance to obtain it from an extra roll on the drop table akin to the Metamorphic Dust Drop. Players with higher thieving levels will now have a chance of receiving multiple grubs from a chest. Players can now build an extra large storage chest with a capacity of 1,500 items. To make it, you will require 99 construction and 8 planks. And finally, unique rewards collected from the rewards chest will now be given as items rather than banknotes. We've got a couple of big updates coming out in June, including the new Darkmeyer quest, but that's going to cover it for the May updates for Oldschool RuneScape. Let's see what's new with the RuneLite client. The GPU plugin now supports rasterization on Mac OS. Users who are using a Mac operating system should notice significant performance improvements with the GPU plugin on. We have seen a 20+ FPS as well as lower CPU utilization. Due to limitations of OpenGL on Mac OS, the plugin does not offer extended draw distance at this time, but they plan on continuing development of the plugin to add the extended draw distance support on Mac OS in the future. The XP Tracker plugin now allows customizing the labels on the tracker boxes both in the sidebar panel and on the in-game overlays. Additionally, the progress bar can be configured to show percentage to goal or time to goal. In what is potentially my favorite Oldschool RuneScape RuneLite plugin ever, the login screen plugin now supports changing the login screen background. Choose from any of Oldschool RuneScape's popular event or update backgrounds, or create your own. You can even use custom backgrounds which are not mirrored. To do this, find any PNG you want and rename it to login.png, and then all you have to do is go to your RuneLite folder on your computer. Once you're in your RuneLite folder, drag and drop that login.png in that folder. Go to your login screen plugin on RuneLite, go to the custom section on the dropdown and select custom, and you'll be good to go. This is mine currently, and I absolutely love it. When placing screen markers, you can now click on an on-screen widget to automatically select its boundaries. You can still click and drag to create a custom-sized marker. The chat filter plugin can now collapse duplicate chat messages, and the interface styles plugin has gained a menu alpha option which lets you make your right-click menu background partially, or if you're feeling up to a challenge, fully transparent. They've changed the highlight and notify behavior of the ground items plugin. The highlight over value option has been removed. Ground items now use the configured highlight color if they are highlighted, or use the appropriate tier value color otherwise. Additionally, a notify tier option has been added to help configure how valuable an item drop must be to trigger a notification. You can now customize the background color of overlays and info boxes, and finally, the Clue Scroll plugin overlay now displays which enemy you will encounter. There are quite a few changes in the smaller improvements and bug fixes section, so if you guys would like to know more about what's changed on the RuneLite client, make sure you guys go to the RuneLite website. Again, all of the updates today and the RuneLite website are all links in the description of this video. That is going to be it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure to drop a like, and if you're new, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you guys want to talk more about the updates from May or the updates coming this summer, please let me know in the comment section below of what you guys want to see come, or what you thought of the changes to Oldschool RuneScape. If you guys would like to further support this channel, I recently opened up a brand new merchandise store with 4 new designs. If you guys would like to check that out for yourself, I will also leave it as a link in the description. Thank you in advance to everybody that does support. I appreciate it a lot. Thanks for watching.
Wow.